nature-loving friends. Today we are going to learn about fossils and we're going to learn about dinosaur eggs. We're going to make some fossil dough to make some fossils with, and we're also going to make some fizzy dinosaur eggs. We have a special guest appearance from Dr. Page. She's a paleontologist and she's going to tell us a little bit about fossils and a little bit about dinosaur eggs. I have on my dinosaur shirt, so I'm ready to go. Let's get started.
Hi guys, I am Dr. Paige Quinton. I'm a paleontologist at SUNY Potsdam, that is a college in New York City. And I'm going to talk to you today about what a fossil is. So fossils are what paleontologists use to study the history of life. We might be most familiar with it because it tells us a lot about dinosaurs. But generally speaking, a fossil is the remain of ancient life found in the rock record. So finding remains of life in the rock record. And these fossils can take a variety of types and forms. So let's go through the 4 types of fossils that we could actually find. So there's the fossils that we're all familiar with, and those are called body fossils. And this is an example of a T-Rex bone. And those bones and shells and things like that all are parts of the actual organism. And so those are called body fossils. We can also have something called trace fossils. And trace fossils are the remains of behavior of an animal or organism. So the classic example of a trace fossil is a footprint. In this case, we have a dinosaur footprint. Think about this as the same way that if you go to the beach and you're walking on the sand and you leave footprints. This can happen for organisms, and then those get preserved in the rock record. And so you can find lots of different types of trace fossils. It's not the actual body of the organism, but is instead a behavioral trace of that organism. Okay, so we have body fossils and we have trace fossils. We can also have a special category of fossils called coprolites. Coprolites, as they look, are actually fossilized remains of poop. So you can fossilize poop, and that is a special type of fossil. It's not a body fossil because it's not part of the original body of the organism, but is instead its waste. So coprolites, or fossilized poop, are a different type of fossils that paleontologists use to study the evolution of organisms through time. The last and perhaps most exciting and new type of fossil is a geochemical fossil. Geochemical fossils are the chemical remains of organisms in the rock record. This is an example of a geochemical fossil from a T-Rex bone, so a leg bone. In this case, it's called a femur. And that little red dot you see is actually a red blood cell. So if you've seen Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, where they're actually making new versions of dinosaurs, the idea is that geochemical fossils would allow us to make clones of dinosaurs. Of course, that's a stretch for the movies, but it is based on real science, and that is that we can get fossils preserved as chemicals, and that can hold a lot of important information. We have chemicals that tell us what colors a dinosaur's feathers were and things like that. So those are the 4 types of fossils. We have body fossils, we have trace fossils, we have coprolites or fossilized poop, and we have geochemical fossils. You guys have fun exploring fossils today.
Okay, let's take a look at what we need to make our fossil dough. We're going to need a bowl to mix it up in, some flour, some table salt, some used coffee grounds, and some cold coffee. You don't have to use cold coffee. You could use water. Your fossil dough just isn't going to look quite as dark in color if you use water, but it will be fine. And then we're going to use some measuring cups. Okay, we measured out the ingredients into a bowl according to what the sheet said. It was a cup of flour, a half cup of salt, and a cup of coffee grounds. So there it is, all in the bowl. Then we're going to mix it up. There we have our mixture, and then we will slowly add in the coffee or the water. Okay, now I only had to use a half cup of the coffee in mine, and it looks like it's all mixed together, all ready to go, and all I have to do is knead it up. And see, it's not sticking to my hands. If it's sticking to your hands, you might have added too much to it. You might want to add a little bit more flour. Okay, there's my fossil dough. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a fossil. You can use shells, you could use leaves. I'm going to use my little toy dinosaur right there to make a fossil. I'm going to take it and press it in my dough, my fossil dough, and take it out. And there I have a little dinosaur fossil. You guys can do whatever you want, sticks, all those things you can use to make fossils. And then you can mess it up and make another one. Have fun.
Okay guys, hi, I'm back and I'm going to talk to you about dinosaur eggs. So you might be familiar with eggs because lots of organisms that live on land lay eggs. For example, lizards lay eggs, crocodiles lay eggs, chickens lay eggs. Lots of organisms other than mammals that have a backbone lay eggs. And so when we're thinking about dinosaur eggs, they're not actually that different than the eggs that a chicken lays. So we're actually probably quite familiar with dinosaur eggs because they're all of these groups lay a special type of egg called an amniotic egg. This egg has a shell just like a chicken's egg that is slightly porous. It means it has little holes in the surface that allow gases to leave the egg and waste so that the developing baby can stay safe. So dinosaur eggs are just like chicken eggs and just like crocodile or alligator eggs. They're all very closely related. Okay, so in the same way that a chicken develops in the egg if it is fertilized, a dinosaur would develop over a couple of months in an egg and then hatch like a chicken or like a crocodile would hatch from its egg. Dinosaur eggs come in two general shapes. We can have, these are an example of a fossil dinosaur egg. So we have great fossils of these eggs, and they're very oval shaped. And that's because of how they would sit in the nest. They would sit straight up and down and form a little column of eggs that the dinosaur would then sit on top of. So we have oval types of eggs, and then we have more circular types of dinosaur eggs. So this is another example of fossilized dinosaur eggs, and these are more circular. And the type of shape it had depended on the species of dinosaurs. The size of the egg also depends on the species of the dinosaurs. But what we do know from the fossil record is that dinosaurs were building nests and their eggs were sitting in that nest. This is a reconstruction of, or an artist rendition or drawing of what dinosaur nesting habitats would have looked like. And this is based on a famous location called Egg Mountain in Montana. And I actually go there every summer. And what the dinosaurs would do is they would dig a hole in the ground or push sediment or dirt up and build a mound with a hollow in the center, and the eggs would have sat in that hollow. And so we have the fossil remains of this nesting site. And so we get to know, what the nests look like, but there's also a lot of other important information. Like we can look at how far apart the nests are, and that can tell us something about whether or not the parent dinosaurs were staying around and watching over their eggs. And what we observe when we go out and we look at these locations is that parent dinosaurs behave very much like birds. They took care of their babies, They sat on their eggs. They incubated them in the same way that chickens do. And once they hatched, they continued to take care of the babies. So there's some interesting facts about dinosaur eggs. You guys have fun making your own versions of dinosaur eggs.
Okay, kiddos, let's see what we need to use to make our fizzy eggs. We're going to use some baking soda, some cornstarch, some regular tap water, that's what's in that cup, a bag to mix it up in, a measuring spoon, some toy dinosaurs, some vinegar, and some food color. I also have some toothpicks to get my food color out because this is not the drip drip kind. Okay, I put all my ingredients from my fizzy dinosaur egg into the bag, and then I'm going to use my hand to mix it up. Got to mix in all that color and all that water. Okay, there we go. It's all mixed together. Now we're going to take it out of the bag and make our dinosaur egg. I have my dough and my little pretend dinosaur, my toy dinosaur, and I'm going to put that in the center of my dough and just go ahead and form a circle or an oval, and then I have my dinosaur egg. Okay, here's my fizzy eggs. I had made them up yesterday, so they've dried up a little bit. I put some dish soap underneath my eggs to make them fizz a little bit extra, because we're going to have what? I know y'all know what this is. It's going to bubble. So what is it? Yes, you're right, a chemical reaction. I put my vinegar into a bottle so it's easier to pour. I'm going to take off the lid and let's see what happens when I put the vinegar on the eggs. Do you see them fizzing? I'm going to keep putting vinegar on so my eggs will break apart and fizz, and let's see what's inside. Well, maybe nothing. Oh, there it is. There's my toy dinosaur I put inside my egg.